When drawing kitchen cabinets in SketchUp, it's important to just draw what you see. Don't worry about the inner shelves and drawers inside of cabinets unless that visual is really important to you. As we click around on this kitchen, we can see that these cabinets are grouped together either by a cabinet box or by a run of cabinets. So this run of upper cabinets is one group, and this cabinet box here is another group. So you'll need to decide which method is better for you, but let's practice drawing each cabinet in its own group or component. I'm going to open a new file, and we're going to draw a 36-inch wide cabinet. So using the rectangle tool, R for rectangle, I'll move over here. I'm going to draw a 3-foot, by 2-foot cabinet. Now I'm going to push-pull, P for push-pull, click and release, and move that face up to 34.5 inches. And I did that dimension, not the 36-inch, because I'm leaving room for the countertop at the top. So 34.5 inches. And I started this at 2 feet deep, but I think I'm going to push the cabinet face back 1 inch, enter, to make space for a door. Now I need to make a toe kick here at the bottom first. So I'm going to use my Move tool. I'll select this edge first and then activate the Move tool, and I can use this as a copy tool. So instead of moving this up, I'm going to hit my Option key on a Mac or Control key on a PC to create a copy of this edge. And I'm moving right along that blue axis so that it stays on the face of the cabinet, and I'm going to type 4, enter. So now I've separated out this face from the rest to create a toe kick. I can push that back, P for push-pull. I'm going to push it back 2 inches. So 2, enter. And now I've created space so that I can properly put on my doors without them reaching the floor. Now that my box is made, I'm going to make it a component because I likely will use this or this as a base for a different component. So I'll triple click, 1, 2, 3, and I'll right click and choose Make Component. I'm going to call this Cabinet Box, just so that anytime I create a copy of this, all of the copies will change along with it. Now that I've got my base, I'd like to add my countertop and my doors. I can draw right on top of this component using the rectangle tool, and it won't stick to it because this is a component behind it, and I'm drawing new loose geometry right on top of that. So I've got my rectangle tool, and I'll go from one endpoint to the midpoint of the cabinet. This is going to be one door. I'll create this as a component and copy it over here as well. So I've got this face. I'm getting some Z fighting, but that's okay. I'm going to pull it forward. I'm going to double click on this face and choose right click, Make Component. This is going to be door 1, create. And now I can use that. And again, we're going to use our Move tool, so M for Move, and create a copy. I'm going to click the Option key because I'm on a Mac. If you're on a PC, you're going to hit the Control key, and you'll notice the plus sign pop up next to that Move tool, and we're creating a copy of that newly created component. So now, as I make changes to one door, the other door will change with it. So I'll go ahead and pull that forward 1 inch, because we've created space for a 1-inch thick door. And I'm going to go ahead and develop some detail in this door. I'll use the Offset tool, which is this icon here, or the letter F. I'm going to click and release on this face and pull it inward, and I'm going to type 2, enter. So now I have a 2-inch piece of trim offset for that door. I'm going to push back the middle just slightly. Maybe we'll go 1/4 of an inch, so 0.25. Enter. Now I'd like to create a little bit more detail, perhaps maybe a bevel or a little curve here. So I think I'll create a curved piece with my circle tool. So C for circle, or this icon here, and I'm going to create a curve right along this entire profile here. So I'm going to need to use my arrow keys so that I lock into that blue axis. So I hit the up arrow, and I'll zoom in to this corner here. And I like to click and release on that edge and just bring it straight out to meet up with the next edge here. So from inner edge to outer edge, click and release. And I'm going to carry this profile right along the entire inset of this door. However, if I hit the letter K so that I can see the back edges, I can see that my circle is carrying along on the inside. So whenever I select the circle, the entire circle is going to follow this entire loop. So if that bothers you, if you don't want the circle on the inside, we can go ahead and separate that out using the line tool and go from endpoint to endpoint here so that this piece of pie is separated from the rest. And now with our back edges turned on, and again, that was the letter K to toggle that on and off, I can select these edges here and it stops because I've separated that out. I can hit the delete key and now I'm left with this profile. So we're going to use the follow me tool so that this profile follows along the entire door frame here. So to use that, we need to choose a path for it, and it's going to be the edges of this face. So I can go ahead and double click on this face so that all of the edges are selected the entire way around the door. All right, now I can go up to Tools, Follow Me, and now it's asking for a profile to follow along the predetermined path. It's this guy here, so I'll go ahead and click there. And now that profile, that nice round profile, has followed along the entire path. I can turn off those back edges, letter K, and I can offset this again just slightly. I think I'll go just maybe 1/8 of an inch. And again, we're going to push back this a little bit more. And I'm just adding a few different details. Yours can end up looking a little bit differently than mine, however you would like to do that. And you know what? I'm seeing that this is pulling it forward and not backwards. So I'm going to undo that, pick it up again, and make sure that it's going backwards. And I'm going to set it back 1/4 of an inch. And you can see where I drew that profile here. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, clean that up a bit. And now we've got a really nice door detail. Lastly, I can add on that kitchen countertop using my rectangle tool, and I'll go from the back endpoint over here to the front endpoint of that door. I can select this face. I'm going to create a group. So double click, right click, make group. Now I need to pull it up a bit, so I'll go ahead and double click back into that group to work on it, and P for push pull, and I can pull it up 1.5 inches so that the total distance from top to bottom, using our tape measure tool here, is now 3 feet. So I've got my countertop, I've got my 2 doors, and my box. And again, I'm not worrying about the shelves or anything on the inside. I'm just drawing what we see. Now I can select the entire cabinet and create a group or a component out of it. And again, I think I'll create a component so that I can reuse this later. Make component, and I'm going to call it Cabinet 1. Create. And now we've created a nice and detailed cabinet that we can reuse throughout a kitchen and modify to fit the needs of the different sizes of cabinets.